Welcome to another Founder Wisdom Pod. We have Smiti Bhatt Deorah with us today. She's founder of Advantageclub.ai. Smiti spent most of her time in the US and nowadays is developing Advantageclub.ai in India. She's co-founder and chief operating officer at Advantage Club. It's a YC company, by the way. Summer 2021, I see here. Smiti is also a TEDx speaker, member of Forbes Human Resources Council, and a whole bunch of other things. Smiti, welcome to the pod. Tell us a bit more about yourself and what you're up to.
Thanks, Charles, and really excited to be here. I, by background, am a software developer. So, I did my master's in computer science from UCLA, post which I joined Microsoft in their Redmond office. So, which is where I kind of eventually switched from just doing code or maybe writing code to also interacting with customers. And with Advantageclub.ai, I think once you start a venture, you got to do everything yourself. But a lot of my experiences in kind of talking to customers in Microsoft really helped me in driving good business development strategies in my own venture. So now at Advantageclub.ai, I don't code anymore. We're basically an employee experience platform focused on rewards recognition. We do a lot of well-being programs for organizations, along with surveys and pulse identification. So we're basically an entire suite where you could run anything to everything related to engagement for your employees. We started off with Southeast Asia as a market, and then we eventually expanded to the rest of the world. So today we're present in more than 100 countries. We have more than 1,000 companies we work with more than 6 million users using our platform today. We're headquartered in the US, but we have our sister entities in India, in the Philippines, and in the UAE beyond the US. So that's how we're structured. And that's what I've been doing, kind of just trying to grow the company every year to go on and, kind of go to more heights and eventually become a market leader in the world.
Love it. And how has the companies grown since the YC days? I believe it was like, yeah, 2019 or something like that, or even earlier. How's the company evolved from that point to today?
Yeah. So pre Vicey, we were kind of, when we started Vantage Club back in 2016, we started this as an employee perks or a benefit platform. So our objective was that you get the best of the perks from most of the brands across different countries, and then you put it on a platform and let employees enjoy those benefits which are given to them by their company. In 2019, we started to pivot because we started getting a lot of inbound requests from our clients to load budgets in. We used to have like a tiny little wallet in employee logins. So a lot of companies started loading budgets in it. Like companies typically spend a lot of money beyond salary on employees, includes things like birthdays, anniversaries, or spot awards, or culture-led rewards, or performance-led rewards. So we started getting that as an inbound interest, and we realized that while Perks is a great business, budget management for employees is a larger business we could look at. So we pivoted in 2019 to a reward management and budget management and recognition management platform. With YC in summer 21, it kind of really helped us go global. So I think that was a turning point. While we were live in a bunch of countries, I think 20 odd countries at that point. But YC really helped us go truly global when we started getting a lot of large global contracts, and we became present in more than 100 countries eventually. So that has been a really helpful turning point with YC. And of course, demo day, we raised 5 million. So that didn't hurt too. So that's how it's been.
Right. And the revenue since then, has it gone up? Like, can you give us a portrait of the company? How many paid clients? And also, what do they pay you on a monthly basis?
Yeah. So as of today, like we are at around about 10 million annualized revenue. That is where we are right now. The company has grown significantly. Like when we were young, but really small, we were growing like 300% year on year. Then it moved to 200%. But even now, we try to keep our growth at least 50 to 80% year on year. That's what we target, because we're now at a larger scale. When you're at that scale, growing 300% is even harder. But what YC taught us, at least in summer of 21, is you need to focus on at least a 15 to 20% growth month on month. So that is what changed for us as well since 21, when we started focusing on that, and it helped us grow at a really fast pace. From a clientele perspective, we work with the largest of the largest brands in the world. So we work with a lot of clients having more than hundreds of thousands of employees, mostly in, well, our sweet spots are technology, IT, manufacturing, pharma, and a little bit of NBFCs like finance and consulting. That usually is our sweet spot. However, we work with all industries. So it isn't like we wouldn't work with a retail provider or something. We have large retail providers as well who work with us, but this is where I've seen our sweet spot to be. So growth has been decent, and we're trying to top our numbers every year.
And what are your main growth motions that you have right now? What are the most successful ones? Is it cold outreach on LinkedIn? Is it ads? Is it SEO? Which one are the most successful ones?
So historically, we have not been a very marketing focused organization. Like we were always a sales heavy and sales first organization. So historically, our major kind of conversions have been through outbound, where we've been doing LinkedIn, cold outreaches, a combination of all of that. You run drip campaigns, the usual, which most companies do. But I think the past couple of years, we started changing our strategy to also make it more inbound than what we were doing outbound. It's still work in progress, I would say, because by DNA, we started off as an outbound heavy sales structure, but now we started seeing like SEO has started working for us. Inbound leads have started coming in more, and branding is something we really started focusing on in the past couple of years, when we started doing major conferences as the main sponsors, and we started investing a lot in marketing.
How stressful has it been to scale that company at that scale? That you've grown it to something quite significant, right? So, what challenges did you go through, and how did you solve these with the years, especially on the stress founder level?
Yeah. So I think there's always stress, right? There are always challenges, irrespective of whether you are just starting off or whether you're at 1 million or 5 million or 10 million. So I think there are different challenges you face from your 0 to 1 million journey, different challenges from 1 to 5, and different from 5 to 10. I think when you're in the 0 to 1 journey, the whole objective is to get like a proof of concept, like to really ensure that you have product market fit. So when you're in the 0 to 1, I think that becomes your major challenge, when you're figuring out the product which is going to really work with your customers and what fits with them. So you take a lot of customer feedback, you keep pivoting, and then you find better solutions, and then you pivot again, and then you try to find your sweet spot. 1 to 5 million is where you figured out what you want to do, and then it's all about kind of surviving, because you start losing money, you start hiring, and then there's like a lot of pressure to maintain P&L, get to some level of profitability. 5 to 10 million is when you've figured out how to make yourself profitable and survive. So then it's really trying to be on top of the competition, be more, keep innovating. So if there are new technologies coming in, how fast can you adapt to that? If the market changes, how fast can you adapt to that? So, like for example, in our 5 to 10 million journey, one of the major changes which happened in this industry is in every industry actually is the advent of AI. So we rebranded to Advantageclub.ai, I think last year, because we realized that AI is the future and you gotta implement LLMs in your products if you really want to be the winner in the future. So that's been our 5 to 10 journey. We're almost at 10 now. So I think 10 to 15 is going to bring with it a new set of challenges. We'll see when that happens. 5 to 10 also was challenging because we had to go global. So that was also, I think, not an easy task, going live in 100 countries. We started off with 3, we went to 20, then you just kept on expanding, and eventually it was like 100 countries.
And did you had near deaths in the process? And how did you react to these very tough crunch
Yeah.
time type of moments?
So we did have near death scares in the 0 to 1 journey. That is usually when you have the most of them. Like I remember when we raised our first seed round. At that point, it was not much. It was like 500,000 or something. So, but at that point for us, 500,000 was like a crazy amount of money. So I think the mistake we did back in 2017 was we kind of hired too many people. We went from like 10 people to 45 people, and we were burning money like anything, and we did not have a revenue model sorted out. So that was the biggest mistake I think we did at that point, that you're burning money but you don't know how to earn money when that money runs out. So and then that was the point when there was this 2016, I don't know if you remember, there was this funding frenzy in the world. Like we were in a co-working space, and there was this guy who was from a fund. He would keep going to every startup and keep asking them, do you want funding? You got it. Do you want funding? You got it. Literally, it was crazy. It was that funny. But people were just getting funded for no reason, and we enjoyed that frenzy, and we raised some money really easily. And I think when you get something really easily, you don't value it. So we got like the most expensive coffee machine ever. It had like hot coffee, cold coffee, iced tea, and whatnot. I don't remember. So we spent a lot of money on things which we should not have spent on, and we dried out pretty quick. But the good thing was we had one mentor out of the bunch of investors we had, who identified that there is a market slump happening again, and you're going to run out of money. You don't have a business model figured out yet. You're going to die. And he would call us every week on a call, like a teacher. Literally, he would call us every week on a call and say, you got to do something about your business model. And we were like, we're not children. Why is he treating us that way? We've made it. We're gonna make that happen. But
Because he's seen shit.
He's seen shit, and he said, so I've seen so many startups die. So you're making the same mistakes. You learn from others' mistakes. You don't make those again. So I think out of his fear, nothing more, no other reason, just out of his fear, we started to figure out a business model. And there was a point when that money almost dried out, but we started making money, and we had to raise another round. We had closed the term sheet, but the money was not in yet. So we had an X amount of money in the bank. That same amount is my monthly salary for everybody.
Oh,
And
shit.
that same amount was an additional credit given to us by our bank, which we could utilize on a rainy day. So we had the same amount of money we were needing for every month, and we literally had like a 1 month or worth of money left over. And that was crazy. I couldn't sleep for, I don't know, months. I don't remember how, I can't even tell you how stressful that was. But since we had figured out a revenue model, it was literally the bare minimum amount we could make money off from our business. So it's like my sales team is making revenue, And that is the exact amount of money we use to pay our salaries next month. So if 1 month the sales team misses out on their targets, we don't get paid. So it was really stressful. Thankfully, this only continued for 3 months, and then the next term sheets money kicked in. But I swore we would never ever let ourselves get in this situation again. And since then, and it was a very early learning for us, and I think it was a good thing, because since then we've always focused on profitability. Even when we burn, we know what needs to be done to actually become profitable if need be. So today, like, we're in different geographies. There are certain geographies where we're burning, but that's out of a conscious choice, not because we have to. It's because we want to, because we are spending on branding or investing on growth or whatever. But if I want to make any part of my business EBITDA positive, I can do that overnight. So that's something we've figured out because of that incident, which happened, like, I don't know, 8 years ago. And I'm so thankful to that mentor that he didn't let us die. And I don't know, we wouldn't have reached where we've reached today.
And that's golden. Thanks for sharing that. Do you feel that nowadays it's 80% comfort and 20% out of the comfort zone? VS back in days it was 80% out of the comfort zone, 20% in your comfort.
Not 80% in my comfort zone. I would say it's still 70. There's still 30% things you're doing out of your comfort zone. So there are a bunch of things which happen when you reach a certain level. One, you're afraid of losing revenue. Because at that, when you're young, you have nothing to lose. But now you have a bunch of really large customers you gotta retain, and they're like gold for you. So you do anything to everything to retain them, right? Because there may be a large chunk of your revenue, and that dip happens in case you lose them. Second, I think you also need to invest in brand building and growth, but you also got to make sure that, because now we have like a 300 people team, the expenses have also shot up. So you got to make that much revenue to also ensure that your expenses are managed and you don't go into that zone again. So I would say it's still 70% in my comfort zone, primarily because in certain geographies, at least, we've reached a market leadership position. So there's nobody literally who does not know about us in those geographies. And it's easier to grab customers now. And the 30% is primarily from one, retaining, maintaining your, the kind of status you've come to. You got to maintain that. And there are a few new geographies you're trying to expand in, so there's always going to be stress associated with that to make them profitable.
Right. And are you seeking for an exit in the next couple of years? Because if we check at like an extreme example, right, Elon, I think he's still at 99% out of his comfort zone and he still can survive that. Is it like something that's in you that's not into you? Is it about extreme growth mindset vs like PTSD from like past traumas? How do you see that? Because you're risk taker, right? I know that, but you also have that Microsoft in you, like more stability and so forth. So how do you view that?
So it's funny, Microsoft was like my dream company my whole life. When I joined there, it just really turned into a nightmare really quickly because of the speed. So, when you join a large organization, you are of the mindset that I'm going to change the world, I'm going to make everybody's life easier. But then you realize
That's so
you're in a
naive.
company. Yeah, it's so naive, but you realize you're like in a company of 100,000 people. You're literally a nobody. I mean,
You're dust.
you're gonna make like a teensy tiny bit of difference in whatever you're doing. You still try to do what you can, but maybe like a bunch of clients, but you can't really change the P&L of the company. So for me, actually, this was a refresher. So this going to a large scale company like that, it reinstated my thought process that I got to start something of my own. So I have always been this person who can't be idle. I can't not do anything. So that's been my problem. So there is an extreme growth mindset, but maybe not as I'm not as as bold as Elon. I mean, I can't play that game when I'm burning gazillions of dollars and still I can go to sleep at night. I still have that mindset of running a profitable business. Maybe it's because of what we've seen and what we've gone through. So I still don't have that mindset of playing the burn and then grow game.
Well, you have
But I
investors to satisfy and you have employees to pay, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. So
you're
I
conscious of
feel
that.
that exactly. So I feel we're as an entrepreneur, I'm responsible for people's livelihoods, and uh, my decision making is gonna impact families, if not people, right? So which is why I'm a growth mindset person, but I'm not like a do or die or like kind of take the company to $1 billion and then burn it down the ground kind of person. I'm not that
You're
crazy.
not a crazy in the head savage like Elon is. Because yeah, Elon, yeah, let's be fair. I mean, he's very high IQ, right? But as we've seen in the Tesla stock debacle as of late, man, he's taken a big slap, a multi-billion-dollar slap because of a couple of PR errors he did.
Yeah.
Now you're in the human business, right? You also deployed like the some AI features as of late. What do you think will happen when the agentic revolution will be full on scale in the Q3 or Q4 this year? Will we start seeing a bunch of jobs being slashed off the market?
Yeah. No, I think they're definitely, I mean, we're kidding ourselves if we say that jobs are not going to be slashed off the market. I mean, obviously, a lot of jobs are going to become redundant with, especially the advent of agentic. But I also feel new jobs will be created as well. So you will start having new roles around AI modelers who could maybe, especially in technology, if you think about it, like writing basic code is going to get redundant, but you still need smart people to optimize it, to make it more secure, to put the privacy settings it needs. And but a lot of mundane work, I think that's going to go away, and it's going to be replaced by more intelligent jobs in the future. But that is something which I think we will have to brace ourselves for.
Right. Last but not least, Harry Potter trivia. Goblet of Fire 4. How did Victor Krum arrive to Hogwarts?
Victor Crumb arrived to Hogwarts. So one of them, I think they came in a boat, which
Correct.
was below the water, and then came up in the water, and then they came in. Yeah.
All right, you passed. Where can people find out more about you, Smitty?
So I'm on LinkedIn, same name. People can connect with me there, and they can. I mean, happy to connect, talk about entrepreneurship or startups or HR tech, whatever. Harry Potter trivia, happy to do that. So yeah.
And startup PTSD. Yes.
Start a PTSD. Yeah, I've
Right.
got so many examples people can learn from. Like, it's the same thing what that mentor said. Learn from other people's mistakes. Don't make those again.
Yes, that was golden. Thanks, Smitty. That was Charles and Smitty for another